Every great story ever told begins with once upon a time. This is the story of Pharaoh, the man who made himself a god. The palace of Pharaoh was a fortress of pride. Golden pillars rose high. The marble floor gleamed under the torchlight. And on the throne sat Pharaoh himself, the man who called himself a god. His courtiers whispered praises around him, slaves bowed at his feet, and no one dared to look into his eyes. But on this day, two men stood in front of him, unshaken by his glory. They were Moses and his brother Aaron. The air grew tense. The guards shifted uneasily. Pharaoh narrowed his eyes at the man he once knew. "Moses!" he said with a mocking grin. "I remember you. You grew up in my palace, ate from my table, wore my clothes, and then you fled like a criminal. Now you return with demands." Moses did not flinch. His voice was steady, carrying the weight of divine command. "I come with a message from the Lord of the worlds. Release the children of Israel. End their slavery. Let them go free." A wave of laughter erupted through the hall. Pharaoh leaned forward, his crown glinting in the firelight. "The Lord of the worlds?" he mocked. "Am I not your Lord, Moses? Have I not ruled Egypt with power? And you dare speak to me of another god?" But Moses stood tall. "I am sent with signs, proof that I speak the truth." The court fell silent. Pharaoh smirked. "Then show us, Moses. Prove yourself if you are not a liar." Moses glanced at Aaron, then cast his staff to the ground. In an instant, the wooden stick transformed into a massive serpent. It hissed, scales glistening, sliding across the floor with terrifying speed. The courtiers gasped. Some leapt back in fear. The great hall trembled with whispers. Pharaoh's laughter faltered, but his pride would not allow defeat. He waved his hand. "This is nothing but sorcery. Summon my magicians!" Messengers ran quickly. Soon, the most skilled magicians of Egypt arrived, carrying staffs and ropes. They bowed before Pharaoh, their faces filled with confidence. These were masters of illusion, men who had deceived crowds countless times. Pharaoh leaned back on his throne, smug. "Show this so-called prophet what true magic looks like." The magicians stepped forward. At Pharaoh's command, they threw their ropes and staffs to the ground. Before the crowd's eyes, the ropes began to twist and slither like snakes. The staffs curled, writhing as though alive. The hall erupted with applause. Pharaoh raised his hands proudly. "Do you see, Moses? You have no power here. Egypt bows only to me." But Moses did not move. His serpent hissed, eyes glowing with divine power. Then, with a sudden strike, it devoured the magician's illusions one by one. The ropes disappeared. The fake serpent swallowed whole until only Moses' serpent remained, alive and unstoppable. The chamber fell silent. Every eye widened. The magicians themselves froze. Disbelief painted across their faces. They had spent years mastering tricks, illusions, and deceptions. But what they saw now was no trick, it was truth. One by one, the magicians fell to the ground, their foreheads touching the marble. "We believe in the Lord of Moses and Aaron," they cried. The court erupted in chaos. Pharaoh rose from his throne, his face red with rage. His voice thundered like a storm. "How dare you betray me? You were brought here to defeat him, and instead, you bow to him. You dare challenge your God and king." But the magicians did not tremble. They knew they had witnessed a power far beyond human trickery. Moses and Aaron stood in silence, watching Pharaoh's rage consume him. Deep in Pharaoh's heart, a shadow of fear had taken root. For the first time, he had seen something greater than his throne, greater than his kingdom, greater than himself. The confrontation had shaken Egypt. The slaves whispered of freedom. The courtiers whispered of doubt. And Moses knew the war between truth and arrogance had just begun.